Alright, so sa video lecture na ito, pag-uusapan natin ang bank reconciliation. Dito sa video na ito, mag-overview lang tayo ng ating bank reconciliation. So ano nga ba itong bank reconciliations? If you remember our cash and cash equivalent, one of the components of our cash is our cash in bank. Itong bank reconciliations, cash in bank na part ng ating cash, i-reconcile natin. So, the cash in bank, meron tayong tatlong deposits or account na pwede nating i-open sa isang bangko. So, tatlong klaseng deposits ang pwede nating i-open as an account in our cash in bank. And these are demand deposit, which is also known as the checking account or the current account. At saka ang savings deposit at ang time deposit. Sa demand deposit, in order to withdraw money from the checking account, nag-i-issue ang company ng cheque. Itong demand deposit or checking account, hindi ito nag-earn ng interest. Dahil in and out ang pera sa demand deposits or a checking account. Dito naman sa savings deposit, usually, itong savings deposits, you have to physically go to the bank to withdraw the money of the company. At itong savings deposit, nag-earn ito ng interest income, a minimal interest income. Dito sa time deposit, the time deposit earns income kapag nag-mature na itong time deposit na ito. Ang pag-uusapan natin is about the demand deposits or our checking account. So kapag ang company nakakolekta ng cheque or any collections from the customers or from other individual or other company, ang entry ng company is debit to cash in bank and credit to accounts receivable. So, kapag ang company ay nakakolekta from the customer or customers as their collections, si company, i-cash niya ngayon sa bangko or i-deposit niya ngayon sa bangko. The entry on these transactions will be debit to cash in bank and credit to accounts receivable. So, babawasan na natin ang ating accounts receivable at magdi-debit tayo or mag-i-increase tayo ng ating cash in bank. Kapag nag-issue naman ang company kanyang cheque, pambayad niya sa kanyang mga utang or let's say the accounts payable, ganito ang magiging transaction. So, ganito ang transactions kapag ang company ay nag-issue ng cheque to the payee, yung mga pinagkakautangan niya, ang tawag sa kanila ay payee. The payee will go to the bank and encash the check at ang bangko, ibabawas na niya sa account ng company. And the entry on this transaction is debit to accounts payable and credit to cash in bank. Babawasan natin ang cash in bank natin at i-cancel na natin ang ating accounts payable dito sa transaction na ito. Ito ang mga transactions na nangyayari sa cash in bank. Dito, we collect the money from the customer and we debit our cash in bank and credit to accounts receivable. I-cancel na natin ang ating accounts receivable. Dito naman sa cash disbursement, we cancel our accounts payable, then we credit our cash in bank dahil nakabayad na tayo. So, dito sa transactions na ito, ang tawag dito ay cash receipts. At dito naman, ang transaction na ito, ang tawag dito ay cash disbursement. So, kung titingnan mo itong mga transactions na ito, the cash receipts is the debit on your cash in bank and the cash disbursement is a credit side of your cash in bank. So, ganito ang mga transactions sa ating cash in bank. Sa cash in bank, on our debit side, lahat ng mga kinolekta natin is called cash receipts. Dinidebit natin ang cash in bank and we credit our accounts receivable. Dito sa cash disbursement naman, kapag nag-issue ang company ng cheque, pambayad niya sa mga inutang niya, we debit our accounts payable and we credit our cash in bank. So, cash receipts is a debit side and cash disbursement is the credit side. So, ito po ang mga transactions na nangyayari sa ating cash in bank. Ano nga ba itong bank reconciliation? So, a bank reconciliation is a statement which brings into agreement the cash balance per bank and the cash balance per book. The bank reconciliation is a statement which brings into agreement the cash balance per book and the cash balance per bank. So, wag kang malilito sa bank statement. Sa bank statement naman, the bank statement is a monthly report of the bank to the depositor. So, ito yung mga dinebit at credit ng bangko sa account ng depositor or ng company. So, the bank statement is a monthly report of the bank to the depositor. Yung depositor, yun yung mga company, yung mga individuals na o-open ng account sa bangko. So, sa bank reconciliations, nire-reconcile natin ang cash per book and ang cash per bank. Sa cash balance per book, kinukuha natin yung amount na yan from our company's ledger. Ang cash balance per bank naman, kinukuha natin yung balance na yan sa ating bank statement. So, sa cash balance per book, kinukuha natin yung amount na yan sa company's ledger, sa books ng company. Ito naman cash balance per bank, kinukuha natin ang balance na yan from the bank statement na nire-report ng bangko sa company. Then, we will reconcile this cash balance per book versus the cash balance per bank. Then, we will create our bank reconciliation. So, nakikreate natin ang bank reconciliations from the cash balance per bank and the cash balance per bank. The bank reconciliation is prepared by the company, right? Hindi yung bangko. The bank reconciliation is prepared by the company. At ang bank reconciliation na ito ay piniprepare ng company monthly dahil the bank gives the bank statement monthly. So, the bank reconciliation is prepared by the company, hindi yung bangko ang nagpre-prepare ng reconciliations. Ang piniprepare ng bangko ay bank statements at binire-report niya ito sa depositor or the company. The bank reconciliations is prepared monthly. So, ganito po ang ating bank reconciliations. The bank reconciliations is prepared by the company monthly, and this bank reconciliation is the statement which brings into the agreement the cash balance per book and the cash balance per bank. Huwag kang malilito. Bank statement is monthly report of the bank to the depositor. Yung bank statement piniprepare ng bangko, yung bank reconciliations ay piniprepare ng company. So, ganito po ang ating bank reconciliation. Bago natin pag-usapan about the bank reconciliation items, pag-usapan muna natin kung paano nga ba ang mga transactions na nangyayari sa record ng company versus sa record ng bank. At ito po yan. So, dito nag-uumpisa ang ating bank bank reconciliations. And our bank reconciliation is prepared by the company, and this is prepared monthly. So we reconcile the company's records, which is the cash balance per book, and the bank records, which is cash balance per bank. So on the company's record, mini-maintain natin ang account na cash in bank. So, sa company's record, ang mini-maintain nating account is cash in bank or the name of the bank. Let's say, for example, ang name ng bank natin ay Metro Bank. So, pwede nating i-maintain ang cash in bank na account o pwede nating i-maintain yung name ng bangko. Example, we have Metro Bank. On the bank's record, nagmi-maintain ng depositor's name. Sa bank's record, nagmi-maintain ang bangko ng account ng depositor. Let's say, for example, ang depositor na Boracay Company. The normal side of the cash in bank is on the debit side. And on the bank's record, ang normal side ng bank is on the credit side. Alright, so on the company's record, ang normal side is on the debit side, while the bank's record, ang normal side is on the credit side. On the company's record, every time merong cash receipts, si company, dinidebit niya ang kanyang cash in bank. The debit side will be our cash receipts, and on the credit side will be our cash disbursement. Pwede rin natin tawagin ang cash receipts as deposits at ang cash disbursement is payment. So, on the bank's record, kapag nag-debit ka ng account ng depositor, nagdi-decrease ka ng cash ng depositor. So, on the debit side, the bank's record, it's gonna be our payment. And on the credit side is gonna be our deposits. So, on the bank's record, the debit side will be our payment. Kapag nagbayad, bangko, dinidebit niya sa account ng depositor. Pag nag-increase naman ang account ng depositor, kini-credit ng bangko yung account ng depositor. Kapag nagkaroon ng collection si company, ang entry niya is debit to cash in bank and credit to accounts receivable. So, nag-i-increase ang cash receipts natin. Let's say, for example, we have a collections on January 5th, 50,000. For example, we have a receipts of January 1st of 50,000. Ang gagawin ng company is to deposit this 50,000 to the bank. So, let's say for example, clear ng bangko ang amount na 50,000 on January 7. Kung titignan mo dito, parehas lang ang kanilang amount. On January 5, there's a 50,000 deposit on the company's record. And on the bank's record, nag-credit siya ng 50,000 for the same deposit of 50,000. Bakit dito January 7, dito January 5? On the company's record, we receive the 50,000 at dinebit niya kaagad on the company's cash in bank. Dito naman sa bangko, i-clear pa ng bangko yung mga cheque or mga amounts na dineposit ng depositor or ng company. So, January 7th, in-acknowledge na ng bangko sa kanyang record. So, we have credit side of a 50,000. Then, another example is on January 10th, nagkaroon na naman ng 75,000, for example, na cash receipts on the company's record. On the bank's records, on the depositor's account, let's say, clear ni bangko ang dineposit na 75,000 on January 13. Sa disbursement naman, let's say for example, the company issue a check worth 35,000 on January 8. Kapag nag-issue ng cheque si company, ang entry niya is debit to accounts payable and credit to cash in bank. So let's say, for example, we have on January 8, the company issue a 35,000 pesos na cheque. The check number is 1001. So, itong payee, pupunta siya sa bangko, ibabawas ng bangko sa company's account. So, on the payment, kapag na-clear na ng bangko, ang cheque na yon, ibabawas na ni bangko sa account ng depositor. So, the check number 1001 is debited on the depositor's account. Then, another example is check issued by the company. Let's say, for example, on January 11, meron na naman siyang 10,000 na in-issue sa kanyang, for example, suppliers. So, the entry will be debit to accounts payable and credit to cash in bank. Nag-issue ulit si company ng another check amounting to 10,000 on January 11. The check number is 1002. So, pagdating ng payee to the bank will debit the amount to the depositor's account. So, dito sa payment, magkakaroon tayo ng another debit of 10,000. So, yan ang check number 1002. Nung dumating si payee sa bangko, dinebit ng bangko ang account ng depositor na 10,000 pesos. Alright, so ganito ang cash receipts and cash disbursements. A cash receipt is the increase on the account of the cash in bank on the company's record, and on the bank's records, nag-i-increase ang account ng depositor kapag merong deposit si company. Kapag may issuance ng cheque, that is your cash disbursement on the company's record. And it's a payment on the bank's records against the depositor's account. So, I will write down the other informations, then i-reconcile natin itong dalawang records na ito. These are the other informations on this example. We have on January 17th, nag-deposit ulit si company ng 130,000. So, on the company's record, we debit the cash in bank and we credit the accounts receivable. Ganun din sa January 20, 23, and 29. So, we have a deposit of 580, 600, and 250. Pagdating natin sa bank's record, we have the 130,000 na dineposit niya noong 17, which is cleared by the bank on January 20 na 130,000. Ganun din sa 580 was cleared by the bank on January 22nd of 580,000. So, kung i-reconcile natin ang company's record against the bank's records or the bank statement, makikita natin dito, one of the reconciling item is the deposit in transit. So, makikita natin on the debit side, on the cash receipts, we have January 29th of 250,000. On the bank's records, hindi pa ito nare-reflect. So, ang ibig sabihin, kung hindi pa ito nare-reflect sa depositor's account on the bank's record, this is gonna be the deposit in transit. So, ang tawag po natin dyan ay deposit in transit. Sa company's records, ang cash in bank niya ay naka-record na yung 250,000, yung deposit in transit. On the bank's record naman, hindi pa ito na-reflect. So, ang gagawin natin, itong deposit in transit, i-reconcile natin yan on the bank's record. Then, on the cash disbursement naman, kung makikita natin, we have disbursed issued checks of 1001 to 1002, 1003, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And makikita mo dito sa payment on the debit side of the depositor's bank record, we only have the check 1001 and 1002, 1003, 1005, and 1006. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong missing check na hindi pa nakakarating sa bangko. Ang tawag mo sa check na yon ay outstanding check. At ang mga check na yon ay 1004 and 1007. So, ang outstanding checks, ito po yung mga cheque na hindi pa nakakarating sa bangko, therefore, yung bangko hindi pa ito nababawas sa account ng depositor. These checks are called outstanding checks. Itong outstanding check, nabawas na natin yan sa company's record. Hindi pa natin nababawas sa bank's record kasi yung payee ay hindi pa nakakarating sa bangko para ma-encash niya ang cheque na yon. Alright, another items on the bank's record, nag-charge sila ng bank service charge. So, sa bank service charge, binabawas na ito sa account ng depositor. Let's say, for example, we have a bank service charge of 20,000. Another item na binawas sa depositor's account is, let's say for example, we have a NSF check. NSF check is not sufficient fund or DAIF, drawn against insufficient fund. Let's say for example, we have NSF check of 55,000. And then, on the bank's record, meron siyang collection si bangko ng notes receivable ni company na, let's say, for example, we have 350,000 na kinolekta ng bangko at inad ng bangko sa depositor's account. Let's say, for example, itong si bangko na kumolekta siya ng notes receivable ni company and the bank credited the account of the depositor of 350,000. Ang 350,000, yan ang tinatawag na credit memo. So, on the bank's record, on the debit side, we have our bank service charge of 20,000 na hindi pa nare-record ni company. Then, we have a NSF check of 55,000 and on the credit side, nag-credit si bangko ng 350,000 from the collections of the notes receivable. Alright? And that's what you call credit memo. Yung bank service charge at saka NSF check, ang tawag nila dito ay debit memo. Alright, so ang tawag sa NSF check at saka bank service charge or anything na dinidebit sa depositor's account, ang tawag nila ay debit memos. So on this example, we have a bank service charge of 20,000, a NSF check of 55,000, and on the credit side, we have the credit memo of 350,000 from the collections of the notes receivable. So kung titingnan mo dito, nag-records ang bangko and nag-debit siya sa depositor's account na bank service charge at NSF check. On the record of the company, wala siyang record of the bank service charge at NSF check. Kailan malalaman ng company na meron siyang bank service charge at NSF check na ni-record or dinebit sa kanyang account? Malalaman lang niya from the bank statement na binigay ni bangko kay company. So, sa bank statement na yan, they already debited the bank service charge at saka NSF check and the 350,000 credit memo. Therefore, the debit memo is a reconciling item to the company's record and so as the credit memo of the bank. So, ang reconciling item natin sa bangko ay the debit memo and the credit memo. Ganito ang nangyayari sa record ng company at sa record ng bangko. On the cash receipts, kapag hindi na-acknowledge ng bangko sa kanyang record, nagiging deposit in transit. Yung mga cheque naman na inisyu ng company, kapag mayroong mga cheque na hindi pa na-acknowledge ng bangko, nagiging outstanding check siya. On this example, we have two outstanding checks. We have the check number 1004 and the check number 1007. And on the bank's record, nag-charge si bangko ng bank service charge at saka NSF check na hindi pa nare-record sa company's record. At saka yung credit memo, yung notes receivable na kinolekta ng bangko in behalf of the company. Alright, so ang mga reconciling item natin on the company's record are So, ito ang mga reconciling items sa record ng company. On the debit side, i-reconcile natin yung deposit in transit na hindi pa na-acknowledge ng bangko. Sa credit side naman, yung mga outstanding checks na hindi pa nakakarating sa bangko. On the bank's record naman, ang mga reconciling items natin, yung mga debit memos na hindi pa na-record ng company. At mga credit memos na hindi rin ito na-record ng company on the company's cash in bank. So, the reconciling item are the reconciling items on the debit side, yung mga china-charge ng bangko sa account ng depositor. One of the reconciling item is NSF check or called DAIF. DAIF is drawn against insufficient fund. So yan, binabawas yan kapag meron tayong NSF check, kagaya ng ating example, binabawas yan sa account ng depositor. Ang tawag sa mga ito ay debit memo. Bakit tinawag na debit memo? Kasi it's on the debit side. On the credit side naman, we have a reconciling item like notes receivable collected by the bank in behalf of the company na nangungulekta si bangko ng mga notes receivable ng company. Kapag nangolekta ng notes receivable si bangko, ina-add ng bangko sa kanyang account. So, it's gonna be on the credit side. Ang mga proceeds of the loans and when a time deposit matures, ina-add din ng bangko sa account ng company. So, ang tawag mo dito sa collections or mga proceeds, ang tawag dyan ay credit memo. Alright, so ito ang mga reconciling item natin na kailangan nating i-reconcile on the company's record. Ito po ang ating bank reconciliation. So, on bank reconciliations, on the company's record, ito po yung ating cash balance per book. Sa bank record naman, ito naman ang ating cash balance per bank. So, this is your cash balance per bank. On the bank's record, at kinukuha natin ang cash balance per bank on the bank statement. Doon natin makikita ang balanse ng account ng depositor. On the cash balance per book naman is, nakikita natin yan sa per ledger on the company's record. At ang mini-maintain ng company on the company's record is the account cash in bank or the name of the bank itself. So, let's say for example, we have Metro Bank. On the bank's record naman, ang mini-maintain na account is the depositor's name. Or let's say for example, ang company natin, the Boracay Company. So, ito po ang ating bank reconciliations. A bank reconciliation is a statement which brings into agreement the cash balance per book and the cash balance per bank. So, pinagtutumba natin silang dalawa. dalawa. So, i-reconcile natin ang mga items na nasa records ng bank at sa records ng books or records of the company. On the debit side, on the cash receipts, kapag deposits hindi na-acknowledge pa ng bangko, yung deposit na yan will be called deposit in transit. Ang mga cheque naman on the cash disbursement na hindi pa na-record ni bangko dito sa kanyang records sa depositors account, magiging outstanding checks natin yan. On this example, our deposit in transit is 250,000 and the outstanding checks are the 33,000, which is the check number 1004, and 175,000 with a check number of 1007. Yun ang mga wala pa dito sa record ng bangko. Dito naman sa bank records on the depositor's account, merong dinebit si bangko na bank service charge at NSF checks. Ang tawag mo sa kanila ay debit memo. And nag-credit si bangko ng 350,000 na credit memo from the notes receivable collected by the bank. Ang tawag mo sa mga kinolekta or proceeds ng bangko na credit ni bangko sa account ng company, ang tawag credit memo. So itong mga credit memo at debit memo ay reconciling items sa company's record or the cash balance per book para makita natin kung magkano ang talagang cash in bank natin. Dahil itong mga item na ito ay hindi pa nare-reflect ito sa company's cash balance per book or in the company's cash in bank. Ito namang reconciling items na deposit in transit on the debit side and the outstanding checks on the credit side ay reconciling items on the cash balance per bank. Dahil itong mga deposit in transit and outstanding check ay hindi pa nare-record dito sa bank's record or hindi pa nare-reflect sa bank statement na yan, sa account ng depositor. So, ang kinukuha lang natin ng mga items dito sa bank reconciliations ay yung mga items na dapat nating i-reconcile sa cash balance per bank at mga items na debit memo at credit memo sa company's cash balance per book. So, sa bank reconciliations, yung mga reconciling items lang ang kinukuha natin amount to reconcile to make our bank reconciliation. Another reconciling items ng bank reconciliation is the errors. Errors, kapag whoever who makes the errors, doon natin siya i-correct. So, kapag nagkaroon ng error si company on the company's record, we will correct that error on the cash balance per book. Kapag si bangko naman ang nagkaroon ng error, we will reconcile that error or those errors on the cash balance per bank. Kung sinong nag-commit ng error, magko-correct ng error sa kanilang balances. The error is case-to-case basis. Ang ibig sabihin, i-analyze natin kung i-add ba natin or i-minus natin yung error na yon. So, the errors should be analyzed individually. At yan po ang ating bank reconciliations. So, we have three methods of bank reconciliations. We have adjusted balance method, the other one is book to bank method, and the other one is bank to book method. I'll see you on my next video.